Hi, my name is Miss Cherie and welcome to Storytime. We're going to start off with our hello song. We wave and say hello, we wave and say hello. With the friends at Storytime, we wave and say hello. We clap and say hello, we clap and say hello. With the friends at Storytime, we clap and say hello. All right, now let's do our Storytime rhyme. 1, 2, our eyes are watching. 3, 4, our ears are listening. 5, 6, our lips are zipped. 7, 8, story time is great. 9, 10, let the fun begin. Today our story time is all about giraffes. And our first story is called Giraffes Cap Dance. And it was written by Giles Andreae. He is the author of our story because he wrote all the words. And Guy Parker Reese is our illustrator because he drew all the pictures. All right, let's begin. Gerald was a tall giraffe whose neck was long and slim, but his knees were awfully crooked and his legs were rather thin. He was very good at standing still and munching shoots off trees, but when he tried to run around, he buckled at the knees. Now every year in Africa, they hold the jungle dance, where every single animal turns up to skip and prance. And this year, when the date arrived, poor Gerald felt so sad, because when it came to dancing, he was really very bad. The warthogs started waltzing, and the rhinos rocked and rolled. The lions danced a tango that was elegant and bold. The chimps all did a cha-cha with a very Latin feel, and 8 baboons then teamed up for a splendid Scottish reel. Gerald swallowed bravely as he walked toward the floor, but the lions saw him coming and they soon began to roar. "Hey, look at clumsy Gerald!" the animals all sneered. "Giraffes can't dance, you silly fool! Oh, Gerald, you're so weird!" Gerald simply froze up. He was rooted to the spot. "They're right," he thought. "I'm useless. Oh, I feel like such a clot." So he crept off from the dance floor and he started walking home. He never felt so sad before, so sad and so alone. Then he found a little clearing and he looked up at the sky. "The moon can be so beautiful," he whispered with a sigh. "Excuse me," coughed a cricket who'd seen Gerald earlier on. "But sometimes when you're different, you just need a different song." Listen to the swaying grass and listen to the trees. To me, the sweetest music is those branches in the breeze. So imagine that the lovely moon is playing just for you. Everything makes music if you really want it to. With that, the cricket smiled and picked up his violin. Then Gerald felt his body do the most amazing thing. His hooves had started shuffling, making circles on the ground, and his neck was gently swaying, and his tail was swishing round. He threw his legs out sideways, and he swung them everywhere. Then he did a backward somersault and leapt in the air. Gerald felt so wonderful, his mouth was open wide. I am dancing! Yes, I am dancing! I am dancing! Gerald cried. Then one by one, each animal who'd been there at the dance arrived while Jared boogied on, and they watched him quite entranced. They shouted, "It's a miracle! We must be in a dream! Gerald's the best dancer that we've ever seen!" "How did you learn to dance like that? Please, Gerald, tell us how." But Gerald simply twirled around and finished with a bow. Then he raised his head and looked up. He looked up at the moon and stars above. "We all can dance," he said, "when we find music that we love." And that's the end of our first story. That was such a good story, wasn't it? And now I have a very special guest. This is Giraffey, and if you've ever been to toddler time at the library, then you know who Giraffey is. All right, so Giraffey's gonna help me do a little stretch. I know a giraffe whose neck is real high. He stretches it way to the sky. He lives on plains with the elephants too, and you may see him at the zoo. All right, thank you, Giraffey. All right, it is time for our last story. This one is called The Starry Giraffe, and it was written and illustrated by Bergmann. He is the author because he wrote the words, and he's the illustrator because he drew all the pictures. Let's begin. The Starry Giraffe stumbled upon a plump apple tree, and she was very hungry. The giraffe searched for the most delicious looking apples and plucked it off. Just when she opened up to take a big bite, a little brown mouse popped out of his hole. "I'm very hungry," he squeaked, "but I am much too little to reach those delicious apples." "Here you go," said the giraffe. "Thank you," said the mouse as he moused back into his hole. The Starry Giraffe turned to find the second most delicious apple on the tree. She picked a round, rosy red one that smelled so good she could just about taste it. When she was just about to taste it, a family of skunks scurried up. The giraffe presented them each with an apple. The excited skunk family jumped all about. All this apple picking made the Starry Giraffe quite tired. And an old gray bunny thumped up, and the giraffe gave him an apple. A raccoon followed, 1 apple for him. The snake got 2. And a rhino carried 1 off in his lunchbox to eat later. The Starry Giraffe was hungrier than ever. Only 1 lonely apple remained on the tree. She looked around to see if anyone else might arrive, and it was all quiet. The giraffe stretched up high and picked the last apple. Then she noticed a tiny inchworm staring up with a hungry face. Worms quite enjoy apples, so she gave him the final one. The giraffe's stomach rumbled. She felt tired and a little sad. And after a few moments of rest, the Starry Giraffe stood up tall. She walked to the next tree and ate 27 apples. And that's the end of her story. There was a lot more trees, wasn't there? Look at all those apples, so she didn't go hungry after all, did she? And it was so nice of her to share, wasn't it? All right, she was such a nice friend. So we're gonna sing a song about being a nice friend. And this song is called I Like You, and the motions are I like you. And then we're gonna shake our head and say, yes, I do. And then we'll say, friends are for caring. Friends are for sharing. I like you. All right, let's sing it. I like you, I like you. Yes, I do. Yes, I do. Friends are for caring. Friends are for sharing. I like you. I like you. Let's sing it one more time. I like you. I like you. Yes, I do. Yes, I do. Friends are for caring. Friends are for sharing. I like you. I like you. All right, thank you so much for joining me today. Let's sing our goodbye song. We wave and say goodbye. We wave and say goodbye. With the friends at story time, we wave and say goodbye. We clap and say goodbye. We clap and say goodbye. With the friends at story time, we clap and say goodbye. Goodbye, friends.